All we can do is play it safe.
Up for the methods of copying high security keys. The Lost Film Festival will take place tonight in the Pavilion movie area. That's on the second floor, so if you want to check out some films, all of the Hope conferences always tend to have some interesting flicks. Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. you can come to the 6th floor Zurich room to take one of the FCC ham radio exams. So if you want to get your ham radio license, you can do that at this conference. Also, DVD sales of all the talks at every discussion that goes on at this conference. You can buy a DVD right out here in the vendor area on the 18th floor. Also, some people have inquired about the bizarre artworks that are hanging up at the different rooms. Those will be for sale at the end of the conference. The artists who put those together, Rob T. Firefly and Gray Frequency, did those out of the kindness of their hearts, and a couple of people have inquired about purchasing them. There's, thank you. Evidently a lot of duct tape was involved with the assembling of it, but those will be for sale. So you can go to the info desk downstairs and give your name and say that you're interested in taking one of those home with you. There's a dual purpose to this as well, which means they don't have to load them onto a truck and take them back home. So you can make your best offer. Also, just a reminder, if you could set your cell phones to vibrate just so it doesn't disturb the conference. Remember, there's the Zeus room down the hall, which is the 4th track. There's a lot of really interesting discussions going on in there. Right now it's the OLPC demo, whatever that is. And at 3 o'clock is hacking digital player pianos, which I was unaware that there were still player pianos, but I guess those are called iPods now. All right. You know, what would a conference be without PowerPoint, actually? Thank you. Too close to being ready? You want to be close to you.
We do. Maybe you want to have. Let's see. How do I turn off network?
I don't know. Are you getting hacked? All right. Think you're ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
What's the name of the organization downstairs that has
The Lockpick Village. It's near the Lockpick
Yeah.
Village. Yes.
All right, we're going to get started. I've known Barry Wells for several years, and he has hooked me up with a fantastic lock-picking set that's come in handy quite a few times. Also, if you follow some of the more geeky blogs, every now and then you'll see his name mentioned as he's discovered some amazing new lock-picking hack. These guys are at a lot of hacker conferences around the world and encourage you to check out some locks, some picks. They'll guide you through some of the tricks on picking those locks. And down in the Lock Picking Village on the second floor, they've got sort of a workshop, and you can also buy some of the lock pick sets. I highly recommend them. This is Methods of Copying High Security Keys with Barry Wells and Han Fei, who is sitting down there inexplicably. All right. Give it up for Barry Wells.
That's a warm welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, where's Han Fei? Well, there were some technical difficulties, so we decided that the first part of the presentation, I'll do it by myself. And when there's time for questions, Han will sit here next to me to maybe answer some of your technical questions that you have. But I'll entertain you. Don't worry. You know, you will not miss him that much, I hope. There's Han Fei. Okay. Autographs after the session for him. But anyway. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the thing is, as was explained earlier, I've done quite some lockpick presentations, and I decided there was time for something new. I mean, I always try to come up with a new thing to talk about in the lock area, and you can keep, you know, going with lock picking and lock bumping and all that stuff. But I thought, you know, let's do something that's, I think, not being talked about much, and that is copying keys, copying high security keys, and how easy and difficult is it to actually make copies of pieces of metal, because that's actually what a key is. So first things first, what actually is a key? We all have several keys in our keyring, but what does a key do, and how does the key operate, and why can one key operate the lock and the other key cannot, while they almost look the same? That's simple because in most mechanical locks, the key push pins to a correct position, and if one of these pins is not pushed correctly, as I will get back to later, this is annoying. How do I turn this off? What's that?
Your peers are open now.
Okay, I don't, okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking of how can I disable my Wi-Fi network. Anyway, don't hack me, please. Okay. Anyway, what the key mostly does is inside the mechanical lock, it will move some elements and unlock it. If one of the elements in the lock is not in the correct place or in the correct angle, the lock is not going to operate. And yeah, that's what it does. When I'm doing the presentation, I will talk about locks in the American way, the American protocol, the way the lock is. This is for a European lock, this is not standard, because in Europe the lock is mounted upside down. But in the US the locks are mounted up. And since my first experience was with American locksmith books, you know, I always follow this protocol because this is how I grew up. So that means that we have a house, plug and a pin, and we have bottom pins that are actually in the plug, and we have house pins that are actually in the top. So if I say a top pin, I mean pins that are in the house. I hope that's clear. So if you look inside the lock, you see the blue top pin and the red bottom pin. At this moment the core cannot turn because the blue pin is in the way. Only when the key enters the lock and lifts up this red pin, only at that time the core can turn. At this moment the blue pin is in the way of the core to turn. And that's, you know, basic lockpicking, the very basic stuff. And as I said, I've been here now for many, many, many years, and there's a lockpick village downstairs with 20 people, 30 people teaching you how to pick locks, how locks work. So I guess by now everybody understands this, and if not, you know, see us downstairs and we'll explain it a little bit deeper in detail. Having said that, this is one more image of a correct key in a core where you see all the pins, all the core pins on one line. And if you then remove that key a little bit, then the pins get out of alignment and the first pin, as we say, sinks into the core, meaning that the pin on top of that will jam it. The second two pins will actually stick out of the core a little bit, preventing it from turning it. So now it has turned into an incorrect key. And I'm going to turn this off, even if it takes me 1 minute, because this is not nice. Yeah. Help. System preferences. What? Yeah. Babak to the rescue. This is Babak, somebody I dearly love, especially.
You want a no network, right?
I want no network, right. Piece of shit, Mac. Okay, here we go. Well, at least, now we got rid of that annoying thing and I can really focus now on the presentation. What's important to know with keys and locks in the mechanical domain is that it's all fixed size. So the pins that are in a lock, the pins that are preventing the lock from turning if the incorrect key is inserted, have increments. And most of the time there are 10 steps that these pins can have. So you can have a really long pin, then it's a position 9. And if you have a really short pin, it's either 0 or 1. And these pins, if you can identify the length of the pin, you know the combination of the lock. If you know that in gate number 1 is a pin 5, then that is bypassed. You can cut the key to that height. This actually is a screenshot from a computerized key cutter in a locksmith shop. So if you know the combination of the key, you can just enter it and insert a blank key and the machine will cut the key for you on code. How is this possible? Anyway, turn off growl. Okay, I think it's done by now. Okay, so having said that, it's very important to realize that the depths in a key are not random. If you look at these keys, they have fixed steps, and also the spaces where the cuts are in is also a fixed length. Now, what methods did the lock industry come up with to protect people from copying keys? The most clever one is they do patented tricks in the key. So they have some patented mechanism that will do something extraordinary that they have a patent on. And in that case, only they are allowed to make the blank. So it's a legal protection. It's not a technical protection, it's legal protection. Really, a locksmith, if he makes a patented key, is really in a lot of trouble because you break a patent. You're not doing something naughty. It's another thing that they do, and it's sometimes combined with patents, is adding special elements in the key that key cutters normally cannot copy. So at first, we started with these dimple keys, the keys that have the holes in them. And at the beginning, for locksmiths, that was really a big deal because they couldn't copy it. But then a couple of years later, there was so much demand for a machine that can do that, that they made a machine to copy dimple keys. And then they made dimples that were not fully drilled. And, it's a whole war going on between the manufacturers of these machines and the lock industry. They also like to add, things that are special to that lock. Sliders, magnet, cuts in an angle, floating elements. I'll get back to that all later. Another thing that they do is assign